Hello and welcome to Mind Shifters Radio. I'm Tim Hayes. I'm your host for the first hour, and today is Friday, September 26th, 2025. As always, we're grateful to everyone who's joining us here today, whether you're listening live or through the archives, as we spend another couple of hours teaching and supporting people in using some of the most powerful, effective, efficient, and accessible tools I've ever encountered. These tools are available absolutely free through the tireless efforts of Dr. Michael and Jeannie Rice on the website at whyagain.org. If you go to that website and click on the two words that say Start Here in the upper left-hand corner, it will take you to a page where you can download and read Chapter 24 of Dr. Michael Rice's book. His book is titled, Why Is This Happening to Me Again? And that chapter of the book contains a narrative description and explanation of the primary tool in this work. That tool is called the Reality Management Worksheet, sometimes called the Reality Management Wake-Up Sheet, and it's a tool I've been using to great effect for over 21 years now to improve the quality of my life and most of my relationships, and to turn any negative emotional experience I have into part of the infallible guidance system that each and every one of us has been given. You can also download the actual worksheet process itself. It's a simple PDF file. Click the link, download it, print it off, copy it as often as you'd like, and use it over and over again absolutely free. You can also download a whole host of audio files from that web page or of internet shows just like this one where people have been stepped through that worksheet process. And if you choose to listen to them even repeatedly, they can serve as a powerful tutorial for you, help you get maximum benefit from these tools in the shortest amount of time possible. You can also go to your app store and type in the three words Heartland Aramaic Forgiveness. And if you choose to do that before you're done typing the word forgiveness, you'll see the glowing heart icon. If you tap on it, it will let you download a completely free and private app that contains the Reality Management Worksheet. It contains an abbreviated version of that worksheet process, and it contains a copy of the Dragon Klingon game, which is a wonderful way to introduce these tools to even younger audiences. We hope people do all of that soon and often, primarily because it tends to improve the quality of people's lives the more they actively apply these tools in their lives, and secondarily because it tends to prompt comments, questions, answers, and testimonials. If you have any of those to share with us, we would appreciate you doing so. You can email me at tjh@mindshifters-academy.org, or you can email Jeannie at jeanie@yagain.org. That's whyagain.org. Or you can join us live if you're available from 11 to noon Central Time, most of the 5 days of the week. Go to zoom.us, open up a window, and type in the meeting ID number of 853-2357-4173. Or you can call on one of the many numbers that Zoom offers, and once you're on the line, enter the same meeting ID number, 853-2357-4173. And if you've called in on the phone, then you can just use *6 to toggle in and out of being muted. And we greatly appreciate when people join us and give us feedback because it makes it infinitely easier for us to live into our intention with this work. The intention with this work is to be a service, and that's just boatloads easier to do when we know how these things are landing for you. So I am fully prepared to go back and continue reading from the new book by Guy Finley. And I was trying to prep for today, and I was struck with a memory. You know, there have been a few memories that I've shared over the years about, you know, the way things have unfolded differently because I have practiced the tools for so many years and so relatively diligently. And one of those situations was when I was driving to work one morning about 7 years ago, not quite 7 years ago. somebody ran into my car and totaled it. Somebody came at me from behind and on the side, and what happened in that event, and this was a car that I had hoped to drive for another 10 years or more, and all the things that would come into a person's mind that our culture would train us to, think about at a time like that. This shouldn't be happening. I can't afford a new car. I don't even have retirement funds set up yet. What am I going to do with this? And all that stuff that wants to flood in now has a harder time getting in because I'm rehearsing, and I've been rehearsing for a couple of decades now, allowance and surrender and softening and releasing attachment to things and going into situations asking to be taught by the life in the flow of life in the moment or by life itself. What's mine to do here to be a blessing to myself and others? And I've talked about that before. I've talked about how that unfolded in a way that I never could have scripted. And I was able to be quite a blessing for several people who were involved in that 4-car event, pileup, accident, whatever you want to call it. And it wasn't me doing any of that. It was just me being willing to use the tools. It was me being willing to ask to be shown. It was me getting the bloated nothingness and recognizing the negative thoughts that would come up as completely irrelevant and unimportant and letting them, spin on their own off to the side. Well, another such example came to mind. And I don't know exactly how many years ago it was, but it was one of those perfect high pressure times in life where I had several people in my caseload where they were going through really intense life events at the time. And on top of that, my sister needed me to be there for her to take her for a total knee replacement. And so I had rearranged patients, scooted them off of the Friday over to the Thursday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday kind of thing. So the whole week had been a pressure cooker of a week. And so I had rearranged my schedule and that it was like the night before or the afternoon before, I ended up getting a very nasty, very upset message from somebody who wanted to sue me, sue the pants off me, close my business, etc., attacking me for something I hadn't done. And so I'm using the tools. I know better than to respond to an email or something like that. I use the tools, the EFT tapping, the Breathwork, the Michael Rice reality management worksheet. I used it like crazy on Monday afternoon, Monday evening, rather it was Thursday afternoon, Friday afternoon, headed into Friday morning. And then I pick up my sister and I take her to the hospital and we do all this stuff. And the messages are still coming through from this guy who is threatening lawsuits and, world-ending calamity and all that stuff. And I just kept using the tools. And so I paid attention with my sister while she was there and interfacing with the doctors and the anesthesiologists and in the waiting room prior to their taking her off to surgery. And then as soon as they take her off to surgery, now I'm using the tools again. I'm doing some reality management worksheets. I'm doing some EFT tapping. I'm doing some breath work. And then I formulated a response to this person who's threatening to sue me and to ruin my business and to, promote lies about me that are untrue, etc. And I responded in a calm, loving way, acknowledging, wow, for you to be that threatening, you must have a lot going on. This must be really important to you. How can I help you get your needs met in this situation with the things that I have control over? And I sent that message off. and went and had a little snack or something. I left the hospital, if I remember correctly. And then by the time I got back to the hospital, and my sister wasn't even out of surgery yet, this gentleman had responded with absolute disbelief. He said, because now I had him in a voice-to-voice conversation, and he said, "Wait a minute, you would do that?" I said, "Sure, I would do that. This is a situation you didn't create. It's one I didn't create, and yet we're being threatened from the outside, and so feeling threatened, now you're threatening me. But you don't have to threaten me. I'm not doing anything against you. We can team up and do something that's better for both of us and better for the person at the other end who's threatening all of this nastiness." I could not do that if I was just coming from me. I could not do that if I relied on everything I'd learned from school and my psychological training for a doctorate in clinical. I couldn't do that if I was relying on those things. But if I just use the tools, the power behind the tools does that stuff. And I just want to try and offer this. Think of the pressure cooker. It's been an overly full week with patients. I've got somebody threatening a lawsuit. I've got somebody threatening to close my practice down. And I've made the commitment to be out of the office, to be there to help my sister. And all of that with the use of tools just became this little ride down not even a whitewater rafting, just a mellow float down a river, because I was able to use the tools and not buy into the negative thoughts and not buy into the, okay, I've got to figure this out method for dismantling my upsets, but using the tools to dismantle the upsets. So again, those tools, if you weren't here for the intro, are available on the whyagain.org website, WHYAGAIN.org. And we have somebody I don't recognize. Colleen, welcome.
Hi. Well, thank you.
How did you find us? Where are you located? How can we support you?
I've actually been listening to you for quite a while. I came on with Michael and Jeannie, I don't know, maybe a couple years ago, and I was on their show a couple times. I've been using the tools since then, and I listen to you guys in the morning. I have a lot of inner conflict about it. That's kind of why I showed up today too, just to kind of show up. I don't really
You
know.
have inner conflict about what?
Engaging in community.
Okay. Where are you located?
I'm in Taunton, Massachusetts.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's a lot of reasons, and it's kind of like, so I understand why I have these issues, and I can see all the reasons and why it happened and how they were protective in the past and kind of worked for me to just in situations I found myself in. But now things are different. And what I'm seeing is I'm just like having this awareness. I wish it happened like before I would do the behavior, but it's basically right after I do a behavior that kind of gets in my own way. I don't know how to get into this without, there's just so much.
Right after you do a behavior, then what happens?
I realize that it's for naught. Like it just happened kind of at work the other day, and I found myself in talking to somebody after the fact going, oh, well, if I would have done that, I would have been blamed. And the reality of it is the person I was talking about has never, would not blame me for the thing. I'm not operating not instinctually, habitually. I'm not operating within the actuality of what's happening. I'm kind of replaying old crap.
Right. As we
And
all are.
yeah,
As we all are.
and I'm doing worksheets about this thing that's, like I said, about engaging in community. And I've had all these opportunities and I keep putting myself in, and it's like I can be in it for a class and engaged and in. I have to have a reason though. Like the class ends, people give phone numbers. I don't think that they really want me to call. Do you know what I mean? Like I can't seem
Right. You don't
to bring
feel
it
solid
forth.
inside yourself.
No, and it's really important that I get over that. I
Okay. So take
think.
a breath, soften, and
Yeah.
notice what's going on with your energy and your emotions right now. Notice what's going on in your body.
Oh, it's yeah. Well, that's the
Just
thing. My body's not on board with what my awareness is telling me.
okay. So, but for right now, just take a breath, comfortably fill your lungs, and hold it. Once you're comfortably full, hold it for a 2 or 3 count, and pause at the top, and then slow the exhale down. So you're resisting, so it's as long as possible. A nice, long, slow, luxurious exhale. And then do another 1 or 2 of those and just notice, without words to describe it, notice what you're feeling in your body. From the top of your head, down through your face and the back of your head, just soften and breathe. It's okay to keep crying, but as you cry and as you cry, keep the breath moving.
I just got upset because what I felt like I just wanted to squish into a ball. Like,
Okay? Well, so here's a technique where they call it havening. You put your arms on your hands on opposite shoulders. Give yourself this kind of hug. And then the havening has you use your hands and sweep down your arms like you're sweeping this energy. So you start with a nice, loving, firm hug, and then you sweep away the negative energy. And you just breathe in that relaxing way as you sweep the energy off. And just do that a couple times and see what happens. Giving yourself the comfort of being in that ball and being embraced for just what you are. And notice the emotions that go through. Notice the thoughts that are attached to those emotions, and just keep the breath moving. What do you notice?
I feel a little uncomfortable in the hug, and then
So what are the
it's
thoughts? What are the
conflicting.
thoughts? Okay, yeah. What are the conflicting thoughts about the hug?
It's good and it's bad. It's I think I feel like it's gonna be bad. It feels good, but it's gonna be bad, so I need to get out of it. I think that's
Okay. And when you have that sense, it's good, it feels good, but it's bad, it's going to get bad or whatever. How old do you feel when you're feeling that those tears and that panic?
young. I don't feel like I have language.
Good. So that's it. So now you know you're probably dealing with energies that got downloaded when you were pre-verbal, right?
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
No,
So
yeah.
so you might know something about your life events before you got language introduced and what was going on with your parents and their marriage, and you might know something of that, and that might give you some insight. But for now, let's just assume that there's a younger part of you that learned, got to be cautious, got to be really on guard, got to be tight and tense. And tight and tense doesn't respond so well to a hug, right? Because tight and tense is preparing for an assault, a punch or a stab or whatever. So just soften and recognize there's a younger, wounded part of you that's responding to the hug in a negative. And what you want to do with that is open a dialogue with that younger part.
Okay.
And as you're doing that, if you're trying to do this kind of hug and the younger part says, let go of me, then just soften. Don't go completely away, but soften on the grip and see if it's okay. Ask that younger part, is this okay? Would you rather that I move out here or that I not do the hug at all? Or tell me what you need, right? I'm you all grown up. tell me what you need. And then just respond energetically, because you're creating all of this inside your mind right now. You brought some of it with you into this moment, and then you can use your mind energy to craft a visualization that will help give that younger part of you what it needs to feel better right now. What happens if you try that? You just get that visualization of yourself as this really young pre-verbal Colleen.
God, I'm getting a lot of chatter in my head that's saying, we've done this before, I've done this before, I've done this before. Because,
Okay.
like I
And
said, I can trace back things.
okay,
And the fact is,
so in the past you've done this kind of thing before, and what's happened?
no, not this kind of thing specifically. What I mean is that stuff happened in my childhood, and then I grew out and was kicked out of there but met people and made friends and had community, and it was great. And then I made a really big mistake in addiction, and I caused terrible things, and I went to prison for 6 years, and I waited the prison for 3 years. And so there was almost a decade where
What was the last part? The prison for 3 years? What?
I awaited trial for 3 years preceding prison. And what I had done, I caused a fatal car accident. So I
Okay.
basically knew that I was going to prison. I didn't know for how long. There was no
Okay.
dispute about my guilt. It was just a matter of I have two children, and they were still sort of young. My daughter was, by the time I went to prison, she was 18, but my son was 11. So anyway, the 3 years allowed me to spend time with them before I left. But again, everything in that time and then during prison, except maybe my kids, was a lot of keeping at arm's length. And I can't really engage in this, and I can't really be in this community, and I'm not going to be here for very long, and I don't know that's what I'm trying to say, is that yes, you're right, this does come from my childhood, but it also erupted in that situation. Like, I had to learn to live a certain way, and then upon release, which was like 7 years ago, since then I've been trying to fight my way back into who I was without, in the dialogue you suggested. I've recently done that with the woman that I was when I caused the accident, because I hated her and made her bad. And I'm trying to start something now in my life with a business opportunity and everything. And she could have done that. The dialogue allowed me to kind of see that I wasn't all bad in that time. There was, I was engaging in some stuff that, you know, I got addicted to opiates is what happened, and I just fell into a hole. But the rest of me was not bad. I was good at a bunch of things, and those things would help me today. So I have gone back and forth with the dialogue with that, and trying to do shadow work, trying to get back to where I don't hate myself for what I've done, and I can move forward, because I'm not helping anyone by
Right. And so we want you to use the tools, whichever ones feel best for you,
right.
to
Well,
accomplish that very thing.
I did 5
To re-
worksheets this
to
morning
Good.
again. Just
But the goal of all of it is to return you to your awareness of your perfect safety and your being whole and complete just as you are, etc. So when these negative thoughts come up, yes, these things happened. We're not trying to pretend that you didn't have these events in your life. All we're trying to help you understand is none of that has ever changed your true nature or your value. And that's something that you'll hear in very few places on this planet. And yet it's a really good thing for you to remember and practice, right?
that's kind of why I'm here, because I can tell by my intellect and listening to you guys for years that this community is accepting, and this community can see me even better than I can see myself, maybe. I don't know. But I'm still afraid. I'm still afraid if I say so much or if
Well,
I'm,
then congratulations for being here. And we would encourage you to say, I still generate fear,
I'm sorry.
rather than say, no need to apologize. This isn't, a criticism. This is
Okay.
just a tool. And the tool is that of reframing my statements so that they align more with actuality. And the actuality of life is not that I am so sad. That's not the totality of the actuality of my life. I have sad energy moving through me. I'm generating some sadness by pouring my mind energy into a particular thought pattern, and yet that doesn't change my value. And the things that happen that my mind wants to keep replaying and think about and formulate judgments against myself from, those things that happen don't change my value. So, have you ever heard about the poem If by Rudyard Kipling?
Yes, I love it, actually. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I couldn't recite it, but I remember reading it a couple times recently and it touched me.
Well, so, there's a several good pieces in that, but one hunk from that poem is directly related to what I'm going to say next, which is I used to have a thing that I used a lot more than I do in the past 10 years or so, but I still use it occasionally. It's an exercise that's called safety rating scale and observation. And one of the observations that we offer was a statement that says, my successes and failures in any area don't increase or decrease my value as a person. My successes and or failures in any area don't increase or decrease my value as a person.
I'm gonna write that down because that's a great mind shifter for me because everything is coming up right now, arguing with that coming out of my family's mouths, basically, in
Yes,
my head. I
yes.
mean, not even in reality anymore, but in my
So,
head.
so I'll say it again so you can write it down.
Please.
My successes and my failures in any area don't increase or decrease my value as a person. Let me know if you need me to repeat it. Did you get it written?
I did. I did.
So in the
A
poem by
challenge.
Rudyard, in the poem by Rudyard Kipling, he has a line where it says, "If you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same." Right? Your triumphs make you think you're better than somebody. Your disasters make you think you're worse than somebody. And the truth is, that's all a lie. You aren't any better or any worse than anybody else. You're part of this web of life. You're part of the one conscious mind, etc. So everything you can do, and this is wonderful. You just said, "Hey, I'll turn this into a mind shifter." That's a great idea. My successes and failures in any area don't increase or decrease my value as a person. And if you spend an hour or two journaling about that, you'll have a whole bunch of things you can then do reality management worksheets on because it'll stir up the gunk from the bottom.
Well, I don't know if this qualifies as figuring it out, which I have a tendency to try to do. But I just brought up in the thought when you said that in my life at that time I was doing really well, business wise. I got just bought a house, which I had literally saw in my head 10 years prior, like that I never thought I would have. And I had it, and I'm driving the car, and everything was going well. I was in the most triumph that I've ever had, I guess. And then I caused the accident. And I feel like I think that if I try to do it again or succeed, and I know when I say this out loud, I'm not that person. So it's not going to go the same. I know that, but I kind of think I connect going for that triumph with hurting
The disaster,
somebody,
right? Yeah,
or
they're connected in your
putting
mind.
myself in a group will also hurt somebody, because I heard a whole bunch of people I didn't know, and then on top of it, my entire family was kind of shamed and just had to carry what I did. And my children suffered, and a lot of people did. So I think that's my fear with the community thing, because
Yeah.
whatever I do might reflect on other people after that, or
Okay. Okay.
reverberate out.
Right. So that if I'm hearing you correctly, just your actual presence on this internet show today has tarnished all of us.
I don't know. That sounds crazy when you say it.
Good.
I
That's
realize how
good.
crazy that sounds, but
Good.
I think my body thinks that, yes.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's okay. And that's why we want to just laugh at it and then comfort that part that actually thinks about it. Just like, hey, listen, here's a 5-year-old child who thinks that because they were mad at their mom when she left to go to the store because she wasn't going to buy them the toy or treat or ice cream they wanted or whatever, that their anger at their mom caused their mom to get into a fender bender on the way to the store or back, right? It's that magical thinking. We do it on a regular basis.
Well,
It's a natural part of our development.
well, also as a kid, it was me and your father fight because of you type of thing.
Exactly. Right.
And
You learn, you get the download from the outside and you arrange it in a way that makes sense within your mind and you try and cope with life the best you can based on that. So we all do that. There's another really good tool that I don't know if it's absolutely true, but I really liked that I was listening to Brene Brown one time when she told the story about her husband, how he used to get really irritated at her when she would say, you know, honey, everybody's doing the best they can in each moment with whatever resources they have. And he would say, I don't know, how do you know that's true? I don't, and she would fight tooth and nail. One day he said to her, you know how you're saying that everybody does the best they can, and she's bracing herself for the argument, right? Here it goes. Oh, he's going to tell me this is wrong or whatever. It's not true. He says, I don't know that that's absolutely true. But he says, I do know that the more I pretend it's true, the better my life gets.
I agree with that. I mean,
Okay, I'm so glad you do, because I would like to offer this to you as another tool. The mantra that everybody's doing the best they can in each moment with whatever resources they have. And the more you can practice using that mantra in your own mind for everybody in your life and everything that happens, the closer you move to the day when you wake up and realize, that must mean I've always done the best I could in each moment with whatever resources I had. Even, even in the worst moments of my life. Now, I know this is not a popular story for us here in the world at the intellectual, logical level in our culture. With Michael Rice likes to say, everybody is most people, by the time they're 4, become a card-carrying member of the one world universal religion of blame. He strings all those words together and gets the punch. And I know that this idea we just shared with you goes against the blame model. And yet, my experience has been it leads to a much, much more pleasant lifestyle, much more calm in here.
I agree with you. And like I said, it's been a couple years of, being on board and listening to you guys. And since I read the course for the first time and thankfully found this show because I had questions, but, I'm having either a healing crisis or a bad day or something, but this stuff just started. Well, I'm trying to start a business and it's right there and it's all in my lap and I've help,
Okay.
support, and I have everything I need. And yet I stumble over myself about it. And it's almost like tailor made for me. Like the universe gave it to me and I just don't believe in myself, I think, or
Okay. And
something.
so how can we support you today,
Yeah,
either with a
yeah.
worksheet or some EFT tapping, or how
I
can we
don't,
support
I
you?
don't know. I think you have. I think just letting me, I planned on not even talking and here I go. So I think, I mean, this was the step to show up. That was really all I kind of planned to
Oh,
do.
oh, oh, okay. Okay.
Because
So,
I'm just
so
feeling so raw that I couldn't really, I just felt
absolutely
like I needed
fine.
to show up.
That's fine. So let me suggest another mind shifter since you've already mentioned the mind shifter tool.
Okay, hang on. Let me,
And
yeah.
I'm just pausing so that it'll come back into my mind because it was right here. It was really good. It was on the tip of my tongue. um, it's safe and healing for me and all of my relationships for me to be actively involved in community. Did you get it?
It's it's safe and healing for me and all of my relationships to be actively involved in community.
Yes.
Yes.
What's your first response to that?
It's interesting because I'm not quite hearing as much as I did with the first one. Um, as far as like, no, you know what I mean? I'm not getting those thoughts. It's kind of just more like I don't know,
Okay,
sort of
that's good.
feeling.
That's good. So what that means, what that tells us is that the dynamics that want to fight against that are buried deeper than the dynamics that want to fight against the other one.
Okay.
So just use the tool, right? Don't try and plan it out. Don't try and think, oh, when I get this done, then I'll feel this way or that way. Whether it's a reality management worksheet or a targeted journaling process, I strongly recommend to people that they just go in with as little expectation as possible. They just use the tool and watch what happens rather than try to get the tool to create a certain response. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. I mean, I actually heard you on a couple shows ago because I'm behind most of the time because I usually am at work, but I'm off today. But I listen to you guys in the mornings, the replays, and it is like both of the shows mentioned, you know, trying to heal without community, and that it would, and I know I've been doing all of the things, but I'm not engaging with other people that are doing those things either. And like you mentioned, the blame, shame, punishment, I still live in kind of a world with those people where I say to myself, they're doing the best they can. I can see the genuine goodness in all of them, really, at this point. But then certain things they say, if they want to start kind of like a gossipy, like I kind of back out of that. And then I end up feeling other, or they even say, you're not, you know, I don't know what you think. You're living in a fantasy land. People aren't really good. They're really evil deep down. You know what I mean? Like this, they have a whole spiel. And but I have to exist in this space and I don't, you know, I know it doesn't do good to like get out of it, but I couldn't have a choice if I tried because of the situation I'm in financially. And, it's just, I'm just trying to exist in kind of two worlds. At least that's how it feels. So I like went,
What would be those two worlds?
so like, I guess that's not fair to say because I'm open about, you know, what I've been learning and, I'm open about, my belief that we all are love inside and that it's kind of just a whole bunch of stuff on top of that we need to release. It's kind of like when a situation will come up though, we're at work and everybody's talking about, oh, this happened. I don't know. I just tend to be like, well, yes, I guess that's just speaking up for myself, but like, yes, what they did seems terrible, but do we know any of the context? Do we know, you want to blame them, but you could follow blame back a million years if you wanted to. So it's useless to blame them. Maybe we could just like understand what happened and try to prevent this thing from happening again rather than just, that's a bad person, they go over there sort of thing. And I just get a lot of dismissal out of it. So then I stop saying stuff and I just don't kind of mention. And then I kind of feel like I'm there and I want to mention this, but no, it's not going to be met with anything good. And it's not going to help me to have that stress. So I'm just going to get through the day. And then I kind of go
Okay. All
home.
right. So what you're talking about there is that discretion is the better part of valor, right? You're
Uh,
not going to change them. You don't really want
yeah,
the negative pushback,
yeah,
and it's all going to be okay. So because I'm just going to, all right, I don't need to be out here proselytizing and preaching to other people, right?
exactly. Exactly.
I'm like Guy Finley says in one of his talks, I'm a wreck. Go ahead, say it with me. I'm a wreck.
I'm a wreck.
Yeah.
I've said I have
I
no
don't know
one
what
to
any
tell anybody what to do. I've
right.
said this a
I don't know
thousand
what
times.
anybody else should be doing and whether or not the thing I'm thinking of is right or not. So when I'm in those situations, it's perfectly okay to speak up and it's perfectly okay to read the room after you spoke up and realize there's too much pushback and say I don't want to do that anymore. And it's perfectly okay. The traps I want to avoid when I do that, I want to watch out for the part of my mind. It's been programmed. I know it's in there. It's going to want to think that I'm better than these people
Yeah.
that I
I,
disagree with, or I'm
I,
not as good as those people that disagree with me, etc. So I want to watch out for those traps. But as I'm watching out for them, it's perfectly okay for me to keep my mouth shut, lay low, right? Don't invite an attack. Don't say things that other people might interpret as me trying to tell them how to live their life, etc.
yeah,
Just wanted to give you that.
no, and I agree it's okay. It just feels lonely in those spaces.
Yes, yes, yeah, and that's why we would then encourage you to go connect with communities like this where it won't feel lonely, where
Yeah.
people will share your point of view, where people will have tried the same kinds of tools and gotten the positive results, and they're willing to keep learning and growing through life.
Yeah.
If you surround yourself with people who are active learners for life, then they don't have to agree with everything you agree with. They don't have to be of the same political party or, gender identity or what, but you'll have a much, much better friendship if you're well matched on this factor of curiosity for life and learning.
Mm, I agree.
And you clearly have a curiosity for life and learning. You know that about yourself, don't you?
I feel that about myself.
Yeah,
Yes.
because if you didn't, you wouldn't be here.
Mhm.
So congratulations. Another little step towards being gentle with yourself. I don't know if you've ever heard me say it before, but I listened to an interview with Sylvia Boorstein, a Jewish Buddhist grandmotherly type, and the interviewer asked her, "Hey, tell us about that practice you do whenever you're upset." And Sylvia says, "Well, I put my hand over my heart space, and I talk very gently to myself, and I say, 'Sylvia, sweetheart, you're in pain. Slow down, take a few deep breaths, Then we'll look at what's going on, and then we'll decide what to do. But for now, Timmy, sweetheart, you're in pain. Being gentle with yourself, Colleen, is the biggest, strongest recommendation I would have for you from this phone call.
Okay.
The next thing to ask is, have you explored the EFT tapping at all?
Yes, the Brad
Brad
one. I
Yates?
like him. I don't know. It's
Excellent.
tapping with Brad. I can't remember his last name, but
Yeah,
I
Yates.
enjoy that. I have mornings that I love to do these things, but a lot of the mornings just, because I'm working, it's that I have enough time to kind of listen and maybe do a little like 20-minute journaling. I try to do as often as I can. Used to be every day, and I skipped a few, and then I got pain back, and then I started again. But that's just me. 3 steps forward, two back every time. So anyway, yeah, so
Welcome to the club.
some mornings I like to add tapping and like I do some stretching things or somatic. I love
Yeah,
all.
the somatic, I just want you to tune into the somatic as much as you can from whatever venue works because it was so
Yeah.
clear that you were having these visceral full body
Oh
responses
yeah.
earlier in this session that you can learn some practices that will help you, whether it's the Eden energy techniques. Have you heard about Barbara Eden and her energy techniques?
I have not.
It's
Okay.
it's probably not Barbara, it's probably Donna Eden. Barbara was from the TV
Sounded
show.
familiar.
Yeah, I Dream of Jeannie way back when, but this is
Yes.
Donna Eden and her energy work, and she's got some wonderful little energy routines, and that like a 5 minute every morning energy routine that might be good for you. And
I'm
so,
always open to. I love a buffet. It turns out of these things. So
and the
I have a
energy
big
work,
toolbox, and I
yeah,
like to just
right. But the
explore
energy,
it.
because you've got a big energy body too, right? And so the energy techniques, I, I I can't push that too strongly for somebody that's got the kind of visceral responses I just saw you have earlier in the call.
I agree. I agree. This is another thing that I get a lot of. Um, I don't want to say flack because nobody's like, you shouldn't. It's not like that, like I'm a child, but it's just kind of like silliness to people, you know what I mean? Like, oh, there's
They don't
Colleen and
take
her
you
silly.
seriously. Yeah, right.
It's silliness, and I'm wasting a bunch of time that I should be grinding and making something of myself. It's that. That's what it is. And I want to be gentle with me, okay? I want to. I try to.
Then
I
then
force
do.
it on, like I make the time, and then it's just the impression that I give then is like I'm not doing anything. Because to
Okay.
them it's not doing anything. And to me, I have traveled an entire like distance in the course
Right.
of a day where they don't think I've done anything.
Right. And so this is another really important reason for us not to try and live our lives to satisfy others,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
we'll be in forever constantly changing to fit their mood or the wind changing or whatever. And it will never produce the results that we say we want.
yeah.
They will never be satisfied for
No,
long.
I know. I kind of know that from experience, and yet I'm like, please give me the admiration. Like I
Yes.
don't. Ugh.
Yeah. So that when you say that, please give me the adoration stuff. Have you ever thought you might have had a love addiction issue? Have you ever
Well,
had a
I
series
actually
of
said
unsatisfying relationships?
yes, but I
Okay.
did say admiration instead of adoration. But yeah,
Either one works, right?
yeah,
Right.
yes, I definitely sure. And
I was just thinking as you said that about this book by Elizabeth Gilbert. Did you hear us talking about that?
I
It's
have.
called All the Way to the River. And there's a point in here where she's talking about the trade-off that she sets up when she wants somebody to love her. And she will give everything. She'll pour all of her life energy into the situation. So here's this little, I'll read this little bit. She says, um, the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous describes how addicts always end up puzzled and humiliated, no matter how hard they try to get their lives straight. That's how I have always felt at the end of my relationships, puzzled and humiliated. And because I have a lifelong tendency to fall in love with people who are either alcoholics or addicts themselves, or the adult children of alcoholic or dysfunctional families, my partners were always in a state of disarray as well. They brought their own disorder to my already disordered life, which added exponentially to my upheavals. One of my most chaotic relationships, for instance, was with a man who, at the time we met, he was being fired from his job, breaking up with his girlfriend, and getting evicted from his apartment all at the same time. Move in with me, I said, naturally enough. Come on in. And so I welcomed him, this heartbroken, unemployed stranger who, like me, was clearly struggling to find his way in the world. I welcomed him into an apartment that I'd rented for myself only a week earlier. Why would I do such a thing? I don't know. Why would anybody do such a thing? The answer is that I was getting something out of that relationship. I was getting his need. I was getting his gratitude. I was getting the warmth, power, and utter security of his complete dependence upon me. I can still remember how good it felt watching him fold his t-shirts and jeans into the dresser drawers that I had emptied out for him just that morning. I got a contact high from his sheer, palpable relief at having a roof over his head at last, and a woman who was being nice to him. And then, once he had settled in, I started pouring myself into this man in every way I could imagine, trying with formidable determination to bestow upon this stranger all the things I most wanted desperately for myself. And what did I crave exactly? I craved belonging, reassurance, support, devotion, connection, worth, home. And what did I expect in return for showering these exact offerings upon the man I barely knew? Why, his love, of course. I'd basically given him no choice but to love me. Obviously, he couldn't leave me, right? He had no place to go. Now, was I honest about any of this? Did I tell this man with all frankness, okay, here's the deal. I will pour the entirety of my life force into you. I will support you and nurture you. I will sacrifice my own welfare in order to care for your every need. I will uplift you in every imaginable realm of your existence, and I'll make sure you never have an unmet desire. But in return, you must love me, which in my definition means that you must give me an unshakable sense of inner security. You must do this for me because I can't do this for myself. I actually have no idea how to love myself. So that's going to be your job, my man. Got it? And you better not fail at it, or you're out here on your ear. I swear to God, I'll rip the rug right out from under this relationship. And I'll go out there and I'll find somebody else who will love me the way I want them to. Are you cool with those terms? You still want to do this thing? Well, I don't know. So if any of that is ringing any kind of a bell for you, you might benefit from the deep honesty that Liz Gilbert has poured into that book. And that's not a lighthearted book, but it, it, this one or two of the things you said let me think maybe you've got some of that love addiction stuff going, and it might be good to be able to define it differently. Because clearly, as Liz was talking about in that book, she had great affection for her friend Rhea. And yet, the thing that motivated her to do all of the horrible things that happened near the end of their relationship wasn't love, wasn't her affection for Rhea. It was this other driving addiction force. It was this other panicked need that has no source for satisfaction from outside of us, and yet we keep searching outside of us for it.
Mm.
So again, that book is titled All the Way to the River by Elizabeth Gilbert. That one and the fawning one, you've heard us talk about the fawning book by Ingrid Clayton.
Ingrid Clayton. Okay, I've
Dr.
heard you talk about it, but I didn't write it down. Ingrid.
Yeah. Ingrid Clayton, Fawning. And it's available on Audible as well. And it's also a very new release from the last couple of weeks. I'm trying to pull up the subtitle here on that book. It's in mine. It's on Audible, so I've got to click a few things. Why the need to please makes us lose ourselves, and how to find our way back. Fawning by Dr. Ingrid Clayton, Clayton.
Okay, thank you.
You're entirely welcome and far more deserving than you yet know, but stay on the path and you'll find out.
Thanks. Thanks for the time today.
Thank you for being willing to share that time with us.
Mm.
Well, this is a Friday, so we won't have any shows until Monday, but I will thank us all for being here and remind us that we come from love. We're made of the stuff we call love. We actually are love, and every